let's get to some questions. And Jim, Matthew, I think you both can weigh in on this one. What kind of taxpayer qualifies for the streamlined procedure from the IRS for foreign assets, and the same for those who qualify for domestic assets?
This is Matt. I'll take a shot at that, and welcome either of my panel members to join in and add to my remarks. But is the question, I'm sorry, David, is the question which kind of taxpayer qualifies for the Streamlined program?
Right. One, the foreign side, and for the domestic side.
I think the question really is probably, the answer is probably the same regardless of whether you're a domestic or a foreign, a non-U.S. resident. The key question for the Streamlined program, as I had mentioned quickly in my remarks, is that it focuses on the state of mind of the taxpayer. And so in order to qualify for the Streamlined program, the taxpayer has to demonstrate, and the taxpayer has the burden of proving this to the IRS, but you have to demonstrate that your conduct was non-willful, that your non-compliance, and that is your failure to report a foreign asset or failure to report income associated with a foreign asset was non-willful, meaning it wasn't deliberate or intentional, but rather it was the product or the result of, for example, misunderstanding the law, acting in good faith but simply making a mistake, or getting bad advice. As long as the taxpayer can prove that he or she acted non-willfully, then the Streamlined program is available, and that really is the same standard for whether you're a taxpayer resident in the United States or a U.S. taxpayer resident overseas.
For all three of you, if I'm the client, I walk in the door to you and say, hey, Kathleen, I just got this in the mail. It says it's a John Doe summons. What's this all about, and how much trouble am I in?
Well, as Matt had mentioned earlier, John Doe's summons is trying to gather information in order for them to move forward. So typically, if a John Doe summons went to a financial institution, they're trying to determine some of the account holders that may be impacted by the purpose of that John Doe summons. And so I would sit down with you and talk to you about what the John Doe summons is and what it's all about, and then we would get into the details as far as what the focus is of the John Doe summons in terms of the information it was asking for, and then ascertaining from that how it's impacting from you, whether it's you as an individual or you as on behalf of a financial institution who just received the John Doe summons.
All right, now does the summons go first to the bank and the bank notifies me, assuming that it's a foreign institution, or does the IRS send simultaneously to the foreign bank and to me?
Wouldn't it go to the bank alone? Because if it had your name, David,
they would already know.
Yeah,
they already know.
Yeah.
So the summons always goes, the John Does always go to the financial institution. Is there any guarantee the financial institution, assuming it's a foreign one, is going to notify me if my name is on that account that it's received a John Doe summons?
This is Matt. I'll take a shot at that one. The answer is no. There's certainly no guarantee that you're going to get notice. If you're a taxpayer with a bank account in some offshore bank, no, there's no guarantee you're going to be notified that your account records are the subject of a John Doe summons, although I will say that lately, whenever, this isn't always the case, but lately when the Justice Department and the IRS are trying to get approval from a John Doe summons, there is often a press release that is issued by the DOJ saying that there is a John Doe summons in process. But that's not always the case, so you might not know. And the other thing I would say is that let's say you're the taxpayer, you're not the bank itself, but you're a taxpayer, and you find out that your institution offshore is the subject of John Doe summons. What I would say to you is that you need to do something immediately. Assuming you're not compliant, you have an offshore account, hasn't been disclosed, you got to take immediate action, because the John Doe summons process will almost, likely result in the IRS getting your bank account records. And if you haven't taken affirmative steps to come back into compliance, you're going to be in bad shape. I'd say at a minimum you're going to be the subject likely of an audit by the IRS, but you might find yourself under criminal investigation.